back to another university segment. My name is Tyler Olsson. I am the University Program Director at MouseBelt. And joining me today are some of the members of the Blockchain Club at UT Dallas. Do y'all care to go around and introduce yourselves real quick?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I am Luis Sosta. I am the current president of the UTD Blockchain Club at Dallas.
Hey, I'm Arsh Singh. I'm the director of the UT Dallas Blockchain Club.
Hey guys, my name's Aneesh. I'm the VP, the old VP of the UT Dallas Blockchain Club. I'll be graduating this semester.
Hi everyone, my name's Rachana. I'm the Chief Operations for the UT Dallas Blockchain Club.
Kevin, you're muted.
You're muted, Kevin. You're muted on Zoom, Kevin. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay. Hi, my name is Kevin. I am a tech officer at the UTD Club, Blockchain Club.
Great. Well, I'm glad to have you all here. Thanks for taking some time out of your day to hop on this call. You know, one thing that I've noticed as I go deeper down the crypto blockchain rabbit hole is that there's a wide variety of people. And I think that that's in large part because there's a lot of different things that attract people to this space. You know, you have a lot of people that are tech oriented and they're really trying to sort of build out what they see to be the sort of cutting edge of this little corner of the tech world. There's, you know, your anarcho-capitalist types, the people that are really trying to reinvent the notion of open and free markets. And then you have just your sort of moon boys and girls, people that are just trying to capitalize on a sort of extremely volatile market and what have you. So I want to know a little bit about y'all's background. How did you get interested in the crypto sphere? How did you come into the space and what excites you about blockchain?
Well, I'll go ahead and kick us off. I got involved because I'm a very nosy person. The first day in college, the week before school started, moved in. I heard like the RA next to the hall next to mine talking about some sort of workshop or meeting, and because I'm always open to new opportunities, you know, new things to learn, new things that can be done in order to grow both myself personally and my career. And that's how I got introduced to the former president of the club and ended up becoming the webmaster for the club and learning more about the technical sides of it and different uses. And I'm excited a lot about the different problems it could solve and the opportunities it creates in a emerging technology or market. Right, the best time to get into AI was 12 years ago. Similarly, a lot of the problems solved around supply chains and orchestrations and sort of protocol level finance stuff that companies like JP Morgan, Barclays, and a bunch of others are leveraging a lot. Just leaves a lot of opportunity for younger people from different backgrounds to be able to go much further than they would naturally be able to. Does anyone else want to talk about their background?
I'll go second. So actually, I also joined the club because Luis is nosy and can't mind his own business. Funny enough, I was having a conversation with a friend and he just walks in and that's how we met. And he just walks in and starts talking. But like eventually he's like, hey, you should totally join the blockchain club. And so I decided to come in, go to a couple meetings. It was interesting. I joined as a marketing officer back my sophomore year, I think. And then I moved to a tech officer, and then I became the VP as I am now. And we kicked off the search program last semester, or I guess 2 semesters ago, to help spread some of the blockchain love around the UT Dallas community.
So I'll go next. It was obviously blockchain such a buzzword that if I saw it on a wall on a notice board, I was like, yeah, I gotta be part of this club. So yeah, I just went to a couple of meetings, and then they, at the end of I think fall 18, they or spring 18, it's spring 19, they opened up application for officers. And I applied to be an event coordinator because I just love being part of clubs. And I feel like that's the best way to get into something. And yeah, and that's where I met Luis and Aneesh and everyone. And of course, I've been learning a lot about the technology as my time at the club. And recently, I was moved up to the director of the Search Mentorship Program. And yeah, I've been really enjoying my time here. And I guess the best thing that I like about blockchain till now is that it's the free market. It's that it's not just one entity controlling it, that everyone can have their own share.
So yeah, kind of how I got into blockchain was because Luis couldn't mind his business, and part of it was also because one of my classes, so I'm actually a business student, so not really into the technical side of things, but one of my classes had a man come in, and he was coming in to teach us about blockchain, just like the basics of it, but he also claimed to have been the first person to discover it, which is yet to be, confirmed or not. But the way he was just talking about the possible uses and stuff got me interested. And then a couple months later, Luis and I reconnected, and he said, there's this club I'm involved with. I think it'd be great to come in as an event coordinator. And so that's kind of how I got into it as well. But yeah, it's so interesting just because there's so many different markets that it could serve. And so that's kind of what I want to explore more going forward.
Hi, I'm Kevin. So how I got into the whole blockchain space was back around 2 years ago. I started investing in Bitcoin, and this was all just coincidental. And I started off making a lot of money, like a lot of money. However, near the end, I decided to pull the money out. And as I was pulling the money out, I sent the Bitcoin to the wrong address. And as a result, I lost all of my funds. And I mean, it was a realization. It was a rude awakening to me to see that. So, I mean, throughout the whole journey, I was also looking around and researching about cryptocurrencies, and just over time grew an interest in it. And so like blockchain itself to me is not only technical, but also financial. So I looked into the technical aspects of blockchain, and afterwards, I started realizing the implications of its financial aspects. So, and what I realized is that living in America, because that's where I'm living in America, it's very different than some other places where banking may not be something that is common. And that's where I started seeing the practical uses for blockchain in the future, not necessarily now. And over time, I just got more and more interested to where now I believe that maybe blockchain technology or just cryptocurrencies in general will be the future. Maybe there's a potential to be a part of a great change. And that is what led me to knowing more about blockchain. And throughout my university time, and I decided that, hey, these people seem to know something about blockchain, because generally speaking, whenever I walk up to a random person and talk about blockchain or any Bitcoin things, they're just like, what is that? Or I heard about it like 2 years ago, but I don't know about it anymore. So it's really nice to be a part of people who I can just go out and talk to about anything blockchain related, and that's what made me feel like feel really comfortable being around these people in this club.
Evan, my heart is breaking for you, man. How did you make the mistake that you made? How did you send it to the wrong address? Did you sort of was one digit off, or what happened there?
No, it was classic, I guess. So at that time I had Bitcoin, and so I was at a different exchange. I believe the exchange was called Trade Satoshi or something. So I was trying to withdraw my Bitcoin to like I believe it was Coinbase, because Coinbase had the option to liquidate the money and send it to your bank account. So recently, well, not really recently, but it was been like a couple months, but a new coin at that time came out called Bitcoin Cash. So their ticker symbol was really close. So Bitcoin's was BTC, a Bitcoin Cash had a BCH ticker, and they also looked a lot similar in their symbol. So I ended up sending my money to a Bitcoin Cash address, and it just got stuck there. So I was like messaging the exchange that I was working with, Trader Satoshi, and they're like, sorry, we can't help you. Even though I researching this topic, and that it is possible to reverse this transaction, they just didn't want to do it. So yeah, my funds have been stuck ever since.
That physically hurt.
Yeah. Well, some of the best lessons in life hurt the most. So, yeah, now I know that if you put in the wrong address, at least for most wallets and exchanges, it will tell you right away that it's not recognized as a BTC address or something like that, right? So you can sort of nip those in the bud more easily now, I hope. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Which, that brings me to my next question. There's a lot to learn in this space. There's a lot going on under the hood, as it were. And at least in my own case, I find that I'm trying to always sell this stuff to people in the sense of I'm trying to convince them, or I'm trying to persuade them that it's important, and once you find yourself trying to persuade them that it's important, naturally you have to go into a little bit of the technical details because, right, you have to show them how it's different from the alternative, right? So like the notion that it's important and that it's going to change the future is inseparable from some of the technical specs, right? So that is to say that there's a lot to learn, and I think that there's a sort of an important need for education, not just at institutions like UT Dallas, for example, but just in our everyday lives and sort of everyday conversations. So I wonder what it looks like in your region. Is this a hotbed of activity in the Dallas area? And more specifically, what does it look like on your campus? What does the state of blockchain education look like on your campus? Are people into cryptocurrencies? Do people generally know a thing or two about blockchain tech?
People know about cryptocurrencies. They don't know any more besides that. I would say our business school is probably better educated than the engineering department on that end. There is, I think, one sort of blockchain related class on the engineering side of it. The business schools, I think they have more options. A lot of our sales program touches upon it as part of one of the things that one might have to sell a solution for, and a entire like master's degree is dedicated to blockchain, RPAs, and a few other sort of emerging technologies. So I would say the business side of it is slightly better. But on the university side, I mean, higher degree, this is just my own bias. So, I mean, I'm sure other people here will have a better decision. But I would never bet on a higher education moving at anything like the speed at which blockchain moves, even just at the speed at which like AI actually moves in practice. They just don't have, in my opinion, the adaptability for that kind of stuff. So you see a lot of universities just lagging years behind in curriculum in that sense, both in blockchain specifically and generally.
Yeah, I agree with Luis. It's definitely not, at least I have not seen anything yet at UT Dallas that from an academic point of view that would actually teach kids or students about blockchain or what its implications are. But yeah, I mean, yeah, he's right. Honestly, even if they do, there's no point because it's moving so fast and the academic curriculums don't change at such a fast pace. So it would definitely be more useful that people just go on their own and learn about it, teach themselves, become better.
Yeah, so my perspective on this is essentially, I feel like campus, especially in the business school, they've been more receptive to blockchain recently. We've actually found a lot of traction with financial engineering, and a lot of supply chain stuff in business school. Not so much in the engineering school, funny enough. So I think what I view blockchain on campus is it's still technology in its infancy, right? It needs to grow, it needs to be adopted. And what I view the club as is being a good place to learn those basics, because classes don't have these cutting edge technologies as something that's being taught. So that's what Luis and I and Arsh and the whole team has done with Surge and with other programs we're running, is to do that kind of education and to have that outreach towards people on campus who wouldn't otherwise get material. Another issue we face at UTD is the fact it's a commuter campus. And so a lot of people aren't as receptive to coming to online, in-person events, right? And online doesn't have the same feel to things. So that's a problem we've been dealing with over the last couple of years. But yeah, that's my take on this.
Yeah, so basically what everyone said, when it comes to education-wise and it comes to fast-moving technologies like this, and keeping up with the pace that the world's going with, clubs are usually just the best way. You can't really rely on academics or the school itself. Clubs are the best way to teach yourself and join other people who want to learn the same thing, which is why it's great that UTD has so many clubs like this. But yeah, and then again, the business school is very receptive to these new technologies and stuff. So yeah.
Must be nice to be in a school like
Yeah,
yours.
just as everyone. Sorry. So just like everyone else has been stated, the business school is much more in position for blockchain than the technical schools and the engineering schools. But in a way, I kind of want to help change that, or just try and help people become more aware of blockchain. So one of the reasons why I would join this blockchain club is so that I can go out and help expand on people's knowledge of what blockchain is, kind of give presentations on the subject through the club. This in a way to help open people up, and also help myself too, because I struggle with speaking properly and portraying my thoughts to people. So this will help me definitely, and I feel like other people get a lot out of it, because blockchain, it's very likely to be here to stay, and I want as many people to know about it as possible, so that they can become more aware of this subject and be able to make more rational decisions based on the information provided. And I just want everyone to kind of have this opportunity at UTD, and starting with me giving presentations, because it is very lacking in this area. There's not many people who know about blockchain when they should, especially the computer science students.
Yeah, and that's why we think Reimagine 2020 would be actually the perfect spot for that.
The perfect spot for what? I'm sorry?
The Reimagine conference would be a great starting point for so many people who are still not sure about where to go, where to start from.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, I mean, that's a good point. And that's why we wanted to bring in our student members and kind of give them a chance to share their experiences and sort of show people some of the hurdles that they face, and really getting all that they want out of blockchain education, and it sort of comes back to that sort of idea that you were touching on, Kevin, about how it's sort of it's really important that we bring the business people into conversation with the technical people, because right, like this space is going to grow with both of those hand in hand, right? So we need the tech people to kind of build out the infrastructure, but we also need the business people to understand things at a high level so that they can then turn around and communicate it to, right, VCs or just to like the general public, so that they know kind of, what the implications are here, why it's something that they may need, or why it's something that they should care to cozy up to eventually.
Yeah, and just to sort of follow up on the point you made earlier, even though the universities are much slower, corporations and companies are much faster on the ball. So here in Dallas, we have been able to do a lot of major sponsor projects where a lot of our members are able to actually get funding for their projects or get paid to their projects. So there's been one with Toyota. I think JP Morgan is interested in doing one. IBM has a similar protocol. So there's a lot of major companies that are interested in pushing it forward. A lot of financial companies that work a lot with asset management, like low level, like moving of the assets, are interested in it. I just think universities just naturally move a lot slower. So I think your partnerships are going to be much more productive with industry.
To tag on to that, we also have Hedera, which is a pretty big blockchain company, I guess DLT company around here, who has done quite a bit for hackathons and things of the sort, in terms of just community outreach and looking out for just sponsoring blockchain dev, right? Also have a lot of independent entrepreneurs in the blockchain field who are building their own products. I know Luis and I had the pleasure of working on a product back in freshman year, which was a cool little crypto app, which lets you do fantasy football, right? So a lot of really cool ideas going out there. Even in the Dallas area, even though the university isn't as hot, a lot of individuals still in that field. So there's a bit of a mismatch.
How about the rest of you? Any other projects in the works or on the horizon?
Russia, you're muted.
I work with a team of officers on a supply chain management product. We ran into a lot of technical and legal issues, but yeah, we're trying to make something that simplifies the supply chain management process and ensures risk management.
And Kevin is also doing another project that he presented for, but he's a very humble man, so he doesn't want to talk about it.
Yeah, Kevin, tell us about it.
Okay. So for one of our projects that my team members did, it was 3 of us in total, we created a recycling app. So the idea is that a bunch of items have a unique code to them, like a barcode. So like Coke products, there's a unique QR code on Coke products. So the idea is to take these items and scan them to the blockchain as a way to help incentivize people to recycle. So the reason why we scan this to the blockchain is to just make sure that no one else is tampering with this information, that the product that gets scanned actually does get scanned and gets recorded, as opposed to someone accidentally losing losing the database information or accidentally deleting it. So we built it as a mobile app, and it has features such as allowing the user to log into Google or make an account. The camera features, of course, to scan the code, and it has another page where you can check to see how much you have made. So like it's built on top of off of Ethereum, and the way that we did it was we created our own coin through Ethereum, and then we use that coin to give it to users whenever they recycle. So like our idea was that you shouldn't force blockchain onto consumers or just the general population. Blockchain should be hidden away, and blockchain is not supposed to take over an application. It's supposed to help in the background. That's how we saw it. So we didn't want to show our users, hey, you have 100 of these coins we made for you. Like, the users will be confused, like, what is this coin for? How do I change it or redeem it? So instead, we just, in the background, we converted all that to their respective currency so that they will be able to better understand how much money they have made through recycling. So that was our project in a way to help people recycle more.
I've always thought it would be cool if you could write a smart contract that would deploy payment to the same wallet that was used to pay for the bottle when you put it in the recycling receptacle. So you would have something akin to like an RFID scanner, right? That would, I guess, activate the smart contract so that when you put it in the recycling bin or something, it would sort of register that it was going in like the recycling bin, and then you would get an automated payment for like a recycling refund, right? Sent back to the same wallet that you used to sort of purchase the bottle or something like that.
Yeah, and a lot of the projects, partnership with that there with entrepreneurs or companies have sort of been put on pause as the entire world has sort of grinded to a halt. But as you can see, both in this conference and elsewhere, people are still finding interesting things to do with all that extra time they have.
Yeah. So, that brings me to my last question, because we're starting to run out of time here. How do y'all see all of this moving forward? How do you see the future unfolding, or how do you want to reimagine 2020 in light of all that we've been through, not even 6 months into the year?
Well, webinars is going to be much important. And even though Aneesh said that, it's not the same online, we're going to have to find a way of making it the same. Because I would love for this to be over in July. I'm not very hopeful of that matter. So we're going to have to find a ways of, both the search program that Arsh and Aneesh lead and the hackathon, which is, shouldered by Rachana here. Those are going to be very hard to organize and run successfully online. But I think a lot of companies, organizations are going to have to find a way of doing everything online and everything remotely, which is obviously much more difficult, but it's what's going to happen. And on the business side of it, I think this is going to be a sort of rude awakening for the supply chain world. And that's where blockchain is going to come up probably quite a bit, because some of the problems that we came up at Toyota for the projects that they wanted to do is that their supply chain it's a very beautiful house of cards, but it is a house of cards, right? And we need to find a way of using whatever technologies we can, and blockchain is one of them, along with AI and a bunch of others, to build a more robust system that doesn't fail at the smallest amount of pressure. But I know all of these people, but yeah, that's sort of my take on it.
Yeah, I agree with Luis. I think companies and actually pretty much everything in today's world would like to move towards something online or some online platform, because we're currently facing such a massive issue that all classes, all jobs, every single thing, webinars, club activities, everything's online. And I'm sure even when this is over, people would like to keep some of the aspect in. It'll be really hard for people to, I guess, balance it out, that what should be physical, what should not be physical, what can be done online, and what should be done online. And of course, from a club perspective, it'll be a challenge for all of us to figure out how to carry on the club's activities, because inherently club is a very face-to-face, in-person organization. So yeah, that would be a big challenge, but we're looking forward to it, and hopefully we can find a great way to keep people involved on campus and also off it.
Cool. So for me personally, what I feel like is in the immediate future, I don't know if DeFi will blow up as big because of regulatory issues, but I think it's good to keep exploring that field, right? Looking into DeFi, looking into its practical applications, but also looking to talk to our lawmakers and representatives in government on their viewpoint on these things, and introduce technology to them in the way that they can go lobby for the interest of the blockchain field, right? Because it's tough to get actual regulatory power without having representation up at the top. So I think at the moment it's still not, DeFi isn't like as big as it should be, or it will be. There's a lot of growth left. But I think immediately, I think we'll, especially during like harder times, we'll begin seeing better application quality in blockchain. I don't really know what that means, but I think we'll see fewer of those apps where you're like, why did they use a blockchain at all? They could have just used a centralized database. Like, why is that a blockchain? right? So I think because people will have less free capital to toss around, hopefully we see better applications of blockchain, which is, you know, something that cannot be done on a centralized database, but now can on the blockchain. So also growth-wise, what I hope to see is better education on this topic, which is what Surge is directed towards, is better education about blockchain, about web development as a whole, right? Integrating, making user-friendly applications with a backend and a blockchain-based database for all kinds of purposes, whatever is a good purpose. So yeah, that's my viewpoint.
So for me, blockchain reminds me of two words. There's trust and there's transparency. And coincidentally, there's not a lot of that going on right now. There's, you know, we don't trust a lot of what our, you know, government's politicians are saying. We don't trust each other. There's not a lot of transparency when it comes to moving forward because we don't know what the future is going to look like. And so I think that's interesting because we are going to have that trust. And I think blockchain will help, you know, gain that trust and also create transparency within these companies going forward. And so like Aneesh was saying, if we come up with proper uses and better uses of blockchain technology, it'll be a lot easier to trust our information that's coming in from, you know, remote places. And so I think it'll just, you know, be easier to switch this like new world that we live in, right, with the use of blockchain. So that's how I see 2020 going forward.
Oh, so as for me, so again, blockchain is both technical and financial. So in 2020, there's been so many historical events happening, such as the crash of oil contracts into the negatives, and Fed printing trillions of dollars. Not that the Fed hasn't been printing in general over the years, but just massive amounts. But to me, the most significant and interesting part of 2020 is that there has been talks about the Federal Reserve creating their own digital currency amidst all of this crisis, which, I mean, I'm not 100% sure if blockchain is the future, but blockchain is helping to give us an insight of what the future might look like. And so you're seeing this struggle because right now the Federal Reserve is thinking about, hey, let's create our own digital currency and make this process much more faster than the current traditional system. And at the same time, you have, I believe it was I think it was the president, I can't remember who it was, saying, hey, if the Federal Reserve can create their own digital currency, why can't we just do it ourselves and just leave the Federal Reserve out? The Federal Reserve is pretty much useless at this point if we can create our own digital currency. Yeah, so it was just this power struggle through, and then over this one concept of digital currencies. Now, whether or not it's a good thing or not is up to your opinion, and only the future might tell, because if the government gets hold of blockchain technology and actually uses it, it's not going to be decentralized. At least it's not feasible for government to have a decentralized or create a decentralized currency. So, which in my opinion is not good. It's not good at all. If the government creates their own cryptocurrency and centralizes it, that means that they control all of our money. And forget prisons. They can just lock your account and you're pretty much, there's no hope for you anymore. Like, you won't be able to buy food or anything. But yeah, I've been keeping up with the finances and the financial aspects of how the market is going in 2020. And one of the channels on YouTube, because I get a lot of information from YouTube. So one person that I really recommend is Mike Maloney. He just gives phenomenal data on the current market and what's going on across the world, in the US, everywhere. And he just presents it all to you, and just, he wants to help overall. And so again, getting back to where I'm beginning to talk about, it's that in 2020, it's just, what I expect for 2020 is a major breakthrough in the financial systems. Maybe it's 2021 or 2022, but we're really starting to see the cracks in the financial systems opening up, and it's wild. It's wild. That's my take on 2020. It's wild.
Wild indeed. Well, that's some wonderful insights there, y'all. Thank you very much for joining me today and taking some time out of your day to hop on this call. Blockchain at UT Dallas, I hope that y'all have a wonderful rest of the year.
Thank you. Same to MouseBelt. We appreciate, all your support. And take care.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Cool.
Stay tuned to learn more about the state of blockchain education at major universities all around the world. Reimagine 2020.